Hey guys, it's Casera, and today I'm going to be doing my July TBR. So for the month of June, I actually followed my TBR really well. I didn't have a whole lot of time to read, but I have a lot more time in July, so I'm gonna be a little bit more ambitious and put a few more books on my July TBR than I normally would. So first of all, we're gonna start with my monthly goals. So I have goals for every month to read one classic, one sci-fi, one mystery/thriller novel, one historical fiction, and one book over 700 pages. So we're gonna start with those first. For my classic book, I decided to read Wuthering by Emily Bronte. I've actually never read this book before, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. So it's one of those that I'm really interested in. I know what it's about. It's a love triangle, which is interesting that there's a classic book that is about love triangles because love triangles are everywhere in our current literature. So I kind of want to see what happens here because I feel like this could be really, really good, or I could really hate it because I've heard a lot of people don't like the characters and that's why they don't like it. But I like morally gray characters, so I have a feeling I'm really gonna love this one. If you've been watching my channel for a while now, then my sci-fi book is not gonna be any of a surprise to you because I plan to read Babylon's Ashes by James S. A. Corey. This is the 6th book in the Expanse series. I've been reading the Expanse series all year. I absolutely love this series. Somehow, every book in this series is different. It still manages to get me with each of these books. So I am definitely really, really excited to continue on with the series. I'm almost done with it. There's 2 books after this one, and then I'll start watching the show. I'm so excited to watch the show also. But yes, super excited for this one. For my mystery/thriller novel, I plan on picking up The Girl Who Played with Fire by Stieg Larsson. I read Girl with the Dragon Tattoo last month. I absolutely loved it. I've been meaning to read this series for a really long time, and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was just so good. As far as mystery novels or thriller novels go, I feel like a lot of them are almost simple, but this book, there's so many characters and you know the characters really well and their relationships are complex and the story is just complex in a way that you don't normally get that much with mystery novels or with thriller novels. So I just really love that aspect of it. So I'm super excited to continue on with it. For my historical fiction novel, I plan on reading Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens. This is a book that has been on my radar for a really long time. I've had the audiobook for it on hold at my library for a really long time. And I just got it yesterday. I just got the audiobook. I'm so excited to listen to the audiobook. I've heard so many great things about this book. This is one of the best-selling books of the year, and I'm really excited to get into it. I don't read a whole lot of historical fiction, but I like reading some of these more popular ones because I tend to end up loving them. And it also makes me find authors that I've never read before and never would have read before, and I absolutely love them. This one is more of a modern historical fiction. I believe it's set in 1969, so it's recent history, but I'm really excited for it. It's also kind of a mystery/thriller also, I believe, so that makes me even more excited. So yes, super excited for that one as well. So for my 700+ page novel, I'm going to be reading Golden Fool by Robin Hobb. This is the 2nd novel in the Tawny Man trilogy, which is the trilogy I'm currently on. I'm so excited for this. I love this world. I love Robin Hobb. She's such a great author. Fitz and the Fool, the 2 main characters here, are one of my favorite relationships. They're so good. I love their little banter and how everything. Just love this world. I read the first book in this series last month. Absolutely loved it. So I cannot wait to continue on with Golden Fool. So excited for this. So we're gonna continue on with some of the other books that I plan to read this month. The next book that I definitely plan to read this month is Fly Away by Kristin Hanna. As you guys know, Kristin Hanna is one of my new favorite authors. This is a sequel to Firefly Lane, which I read last month. I was gonna put this as my historical fiction, then I got the audiobook for the other one, and Fly Away, I don't know if I would really consider it historical because I believe it's set in the 2000s. The first book, Firefly Lane, was set in the 80s and 90s and worked its way up to the 2000s, so that was kind of more historical, but this one is set in more contemporary times, and it just follows the story after Firefly Lane, which I really loved Firefly Lane a lot more than I was expecting to because it's not high concept the way a lot of Kristin Hanna's books are, but the way it's done is just so well done. Kristin Hanna just writes such good, complex character relationships. I just can't get enough of it. So I'm super excited to continue on with Fly Away. The next book that I plan on reading in the month of July is Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. I recently finished the first trilogy in his First Law world, and I absolutely loved it. I really, really loved it. So I cannot wait to move on to his next trilogy. Best Served Cold is the first book in that trilogy. I don't currently have it, but it is available at my library, so I'll probably end up listening to the audiobook. I don't particularly like listening to audiobooks for high fantasy, but I don't really have a choice in this case, but I'm super, super excited for it. I love Joe Abercrombie. I love the way he writes his characters. I love the way he writes his action. Like, his world building is really good also, so I'm super, super excited for Best Served Cold. Also, he has some great political intrigue in his novels. I love the political intrigue, so super, super excited to get to it also. And he is also another author that is slowly becoming one of my favorites. The next book that I plan on reading is The Broken Eye by Brent Weeks. I've been reading the Lightbringer series for a while now, and I'm super, super excited to get to The Broken Eye. Like, the way the second book in this series left off, I kind of know what's gonna start off in The Broken Eye, and I feel like there's just gonna be tons of action. This is a chunker too. This book is huge. I didn't even check to see how long it is. I could have used this as my 700 plus page book. Yeah, that's over 700 pages. Anyways, super, super excited for this one. This series, for some reason, like, it's one of my favorite series, but for some reason, it's like a solidly 4-star series. It always ends up being about a 4 stars for me, but I still absolutely love it. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite series of all time. I love how fast-paced this series is. I love the characters. The characters are morally gray. They're not likable. Not a single character in here is likable, but I love that about them. They're like so well developed in that sense. I don't think their relationships are that well developed, but I love the world. I love the action. I loved how the writing is so fast-paced, and yes, just I love everything about this series. For some reason though, it always gets a 4 out of me. I never quite get to that 5, but I'm hoping The Broken Eye will change that and I will finally get to that 5 stars. I'm hoping. Cross fingers. Yes, super excited about this one. The next book that I plan on reading in the month of July is The Obelisk by N.K. Jemisin. I read the first book in this series, the 5th season, last month, and I absolutely loved it. I love this world. I love N.K. Jemisin's writing style, and I cannot wait to continue on. I love kind of like the mysteries that are in this story. It really intrigues me, and I'm really excited to see what happens with it, so I'm so excited to continue on with it as well. So the next book that I plan on reading in the month of July is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I've been meaning to read a little bit more sci-fi because I've been kind of sticking to the Expanse series, but I kind of want to widen my scope a little bit. I've heard a lot of really great things about Blake Crouch and Dark Matter in particular. I actually don't know anything about this book, so if you know this book or if you've read this book and you liked it, please let me know down in the comments because I'm super excited to hear more about it. But I had this book on my shelf and I was just like, you know what? I need another sci-fi book on my TBR, so I decided to pick this one up also, and I'm pretty excited to get to it. The next book that I plan on picking up is His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, or at least the first book in this compilation, which is The Golden Compass. I have been meaning to get to this series for a really long time. Like, I've heard a lot of people talk about this series as like one of their favorite series from childhood, and I never read it as a child, and I love middle grade. I love middle grade, and it's been a while since I've read like a good middle grade series, so I'm super excited to get to this. I'm hoping that I'll end up really loving it. Also, the HBO adaptation is coming out soon, and I kind of want to watch it, so I want to read the books first, because I always love reading the books first, but yes. So I'm really excited to get to this one also. I might read all of it. It's a really big book though. I don't know if I'm gonna get to all of it, but I'll at least read The Golden Compass in this month. So super, super excited to get to it. Now I'm gonna move on to some of the YA books that I plan to read this month. The first one is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I know, it's a little sad that I haven't read this book yet because I love John Green. I follow him on YouTube all the time. Love the Vlog Brothers. I love his writing also. And I haven't read The Fault in Our Stars, which is like his most popular work ever and is arguably one of the most popular YA books ever. So I'm really excited to get to this. Like, I know what it's about, obviously. I haven't seen the movie yet either, so I really wanted to read the book first before I saw the movie also. So I'm excited to read this one. It's been a while since I put a like straight up YA contemporary on my TBR, so I just felt like it was the time. So I'm excited for it. The next YA book that I plan to read in July is The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw. I actually bought this book because it's just such a beautiful cover. I have read like the first chapter of it or so, and I like the way that it's written. It's written in a very kind of like mystical or like atmospheric way. So I'm excited for it. And it's kind of about ghosts, but it's kind of about mermaids. I'm not really sure, but it intrigues me. So I'm excited to see what this is about. And it has such a beautiful cover. I love this cover. So I want to like this book so that I can keep it because of the cover. But if I don't like it, obviously I'm not going to keep it. But yes, definitely excited for this one. The next YA book that I plan on reading this month is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. It's been a while since I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I just think it's time to move on to the next book in this series. I've been meaning to pick this up for the longest while and just haven't gotten to it. And last month, I did a really good job on picking up second books in series. So I feel like I could add another one this month and I'll be okay. Like, I'll be able to get to it. So I'm pretty excited for this one because I did really enjoy Daughter of Smoke and Bone. It just ended a little prematurely for me. I feel like there's stuff that's gonna happen in the second book that I'm really gonna like. So I'm hoping I end up really, really loving this one. So I also have a few audiobooks on hold at the library that I'm really hoping that I can get to in the month of July. The first one is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is one of those authors where like I really want to love him as an author, but I've only read like a few books by him that I've really liked. So I'm hoping that I'll end up really liking this. And Terry Pratchett is an author that I really want to get into. Like, I haven't read anything by him yet, but I've heard such great things about him, and I've heard that he's really funny. So I feel like it's just a really good collaboration, and I'm excited to see what it's about. And since the adaptation is coming out soon, or is already out, maybe, I don't know, it's a good time to read this book, so I'm pretty excited to get to that one. The next book that I'm hoping to get to is The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. Holly Black is slowly becoming one of my new favorite YA authors. I found her through The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King, and I absolutely love that series. But since then, I have read one of her other books, The Darkest Part of the Forest, and ended up liking that a lot more than I thought I would. So I decided that I wanted to try something that's a little bit different by her and see if I still like it. So The Coldest Girl in Coldtown is what I decided to pick up, and I'm pretty excited for it. I'm hoping that I still absolutely love Holly Black, so really, really excited for it. The next book that I plan on picking up is one that I've been meaning to pick up for a really long time, and that's Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertali. This is such a beloved book on BookTube, and I've just been meaning to pick it up and haven't gotten around to it. It's available at my library, so I figured like this is the best time to do it. Like, it's just like a nice YA contemporary that I've been meaning to read, and it's summer, so it just feels like a great time to pick it up. So I'm super excited to do that as well. And the next audiobook that I've been meaning to pick up is Middlegame by Shauna McGuire. Shauna McGuire wrote the Wayward Children series, which I really, really enjoy. Middlegame, I believe it's an adult fantasy book, and it's like an entire novel. It's not like novellas. So I kind of want to see if I like her work in a medium that I prefer more. So I'm excited for it. I'm a little skeptical because I do really love the Wayward Children series, but I'm always like, I always want more from them. I feel like Middlegame will give me a better idea of her writing style and if I like her better as an author. So I'm pretty excited for it. We'll see how it goes though. I'm a little nervous for that one. So if you saw my last TBR, I did do a poll at the end, which you will find out the results of that poll a little bit later in a couple weeks or so. But I decided that I really liked doing the poll, so I want to do one for July as well. So if you've been following my channel for a while, you might have noticed that I skipped the reread section. So for my poll, you guys get to choose which reread that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do the reread in like the last week of the month or the first week of the next month, and I will post a review for this book based on the reread, not on my original read. I think that's a really great way to do reviews also, just because you get more of a holistic picture of the book, and I just love rereading. So these are all books that I read last year that I absolutely love and are some of my new favorite books that I've been meaning to reread, just haven't really gotten around to it. So you guys will get to choose between them. them. So these are going to be the books that are in the poll. The first one is Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. This is the second book in like the Nevermore series, I think is what it's called. I loved Nevermore. I read it for the first time last year also. I have not reread Nevermore, but I read Wondersmith and it came out last year. I just thought it was 10 times better than Nevermore. Like, it was such a great follow-up to Nevermore, and I just wanted this book to be longer so that I can continue reading it. I just loved everything about this book. This series is about a girl named Morgan Crow who is like a cursed child, and she's supposed to die on her 11th birthday, but instead she's whisked away by Jupiter North to join the Wonder Society. So in the first book, there's a competition to join the Wonder Society. I just absolutely love this series. I love everything about it. I love middle grade, and this is one of my new favorite middle grade series. So I've been meaning to reread this series, and if you vote for this one, I don't know if I'm gonna reread Nevermore, but I will definitely be rereading Wondersmith, and I'm super pumped for that. Like, I feel like I'll really love it even the second time around. So yes, really excited for this. So if you want to vote for this one, I'm down for it. The next book on this list is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This book came out last year as well. I listened to the audiobook of this one when it first came out, and I loved it. I loved the main character, Rin. She's like one of a kind. Like, I haven't read other main characters like her, and I just absolutely love that about her. Since then, I've heard a lot of reviews that people don't like The Poppy War, and I don't really understand it because I love The Poppy War. But the thing is, it's been so long that I don't remember that much about it other than the main character. And honestly, I do remember like the second half of this book really well. The first half I don't remember that well. So I've been meaning to reread this one, especially since The Dragon Republic is coming out in August, I believe. So like, I've been meaning to reread this one, and I kind of really want to read the physical copy because I got a physical copy after I read the audiobook, but I didn't read the physical copy yet. So yeah, I'm definitely down for rereading this one. I might end up rereading this one in August if I don't reread it in July. So the next book that I've really been meaning to reread is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. It's been a while since I've read this book, but I listened to the audiobook of this one and I picked it up on a complete whim. I found it at my library. It was available. I needed an audiobook, so I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just pick this one up. And like, I was supposed to be doing things. Like, it was supposed to be like, I think it was doing laundry. That's what I was supposed to be doing. And I just remember sitting down and listening to the audiobook. I was like that drawn into it. I loved it so much when I was listening to it, and it's been a while. I meant to reread it. Like, I bought this book like the next day because I was like, I need a physical copy of this book. I need to reread it. And I had planned to reread it in December, even though I think I read it for the first time in November. So it was like a month later. I think I ended up not rereading it because it had only been a month. But like, I feel like it's time, and I'm excited for this one. Like, I'm definitely excited for this one. So yes, another one that you could definitely vote for. I kind of have a similar story for this one, and that's Estrange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Last year, I also borrowed the audiobook from the library just because I was just picking up random audiobooks that I'd heard of before because I needed more audiobooks because like I have a lot of time to listen to audiobooks, way more than to read physical books. And so I picked up Estrange the Dreamer and I was immediately blown away by it. I absolutely love Laini Taylor's writing style. I love like the dreamlike qualities of this book. I love the way it's written, and I love Laszlo and his characterization, and I want to be back in this world. I definitely am excited to read this one. Also, I haven't read the physical copy of this one either. I got the physical book on sale afterwards because like Christmas, there's tons of sales for everything. So I ended up getting the physical book, but I didn't end up reading the physical book yet. So I'm excited to get the physical book also. I really do want to reread this one. So this is another one you could definitely vote for. And the last book that I'm putting on this poll is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is one that I've actually already reread. So I read this one in January or February of last year, and I didn't enjoy it that much. But for some reason, something made me pick up the audiobook, and I fell in love with this book through the audiobook. I absolutely loved the audiobook of this book because this book is very much an atmospheric book. The writing style is what makes this really good, and the audiobook to me is just really well done. Like, it's a really great production of it. Upon reread, like, I was expecting to not like the characters that much. I ended up actually really loving the characters on reread, but I also expected to be disappointed by the plot because that was my main issue the first time I read this book, was because the plot is kind of anticlimactic. It did not bother me the second time around. Like, I had no qualms about the plot. Like, I just absolutely loved being in this world and being like in this atmosphere. It was just so well written, and I absolutely love everything about this book. So yes. So like, this is one of those books that is like one of my new favorites that like I kind of want to reread every year, kind of like how I do with the Harry Potter series. So I don't know if I'll listen to the audiobook or read the physical book if you guys choose this one. I'm definitely down to reread this one. Like, definitely down for it. I kind of want to reread some of the other ones a little bit more just because I haven't reread them yet. I love this one so much that I'm definitely down for it. So those are the 5 books that you guys can pick. The poll is up in the cards, so definitely check that out. Also, if you've read any of these books, if you liked any of these books, please let me know down in the comments because I would love to discuss it with you. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I post videos at least weekly, so consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!